November 2016. This is Sylvia Shivamurthy and you're listening to the newspaper reviews on www.athavaneng.com. Let's now look at the paper highlights from today's newspapers. The main highlight in Sunday Times says, Dutch firm up stakes on Airbus 350 deal. The controversial payment of $98 million or more than 14.5 billion rupees to a Dutch firm for the cancellation of a A350 aircraft ordered by Sri Lankan Airlines has run into snags. The Dutch firm Aerocap, which had said it had agreed on the low figure of $98 billion is now urging the government to fulfill further conditions. One is the insistence that Sri Lankan Airlines should obtain a second aircraft on lease from the company. In addition, it has said an aircraft now operated by Sri Lankan and now under lease should have its period extended. There's another highlight which says, From yellow to white, crisscrossing the country. With the government imposing heavy fines in a bid to curb road accidents, the Road Development Authority is also making an important color change. The RDA from next week will start changing all the zebra crossings by painting them in white and black instead of yellow and black. RDA Chairman Nihal Surya-Raju said that usually in countries which had snow, the crossings were painted yellow and in other countries in white. That was the reason for the color change, starting in Colombo and then crisscrossing the country. The highlight in the middle says, Education Budget, Ministers throw the book at each other. Education Minister Akila Viraj Karyavasam yesterday hit back Finance Minister Ravi Karnanayaka, who had charged that the Education Ministry's 2017 budgetary allocation was cut because this year's allocation was underutilized. Mr. Karyavasam told the Sunday Times yesterday the allocation was underutilized because the Treasury delays in releasing the funds on time. Often the money is not passed by the Treasury when we want it. There are delays. That is one reason the utilization rate is low, the Education Minister said. And the highlight at the bottom says, PM proposes pay hike, extra allowances for MPs. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday proposed a salary increase and additional allowances for members of parliament. Mr. Wickremesinghe said he strongly advocated a salary hike for MPs and a rise in the daily attendance allowance to 2,500 rupees from the present 500 rupees. He also proposed another monthly payment of 1 lakh rupees for the work MPs do in electorates. Let's now look at the paper highlights in Sunday Observer. The main highlight says, New legislation to manage public debt. The government hopes to bring in new legislation in the first quarter of next year to manage the entire public debt running to over 9 trillion rupees at present, Finance Minister Ravi Karnanayaka said. He said the public debts would be closely monitored and controlled on a day-to-day basis under the new legislation. Given the complexities and the scale of debt, the task of managing debt is no doubt going to be very challenging in the days to come. The country's debt management responsibilities are shared by the Central Bank General Treasury and Department of External Resources. The arrangement was good when the debt was only a few billion rupees. It is difficult now, he said. The highlight in the middle says, CEB to face legal action over delays. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has expressed grave concern over the Ceylon Electricity Board's intentional deviation of constructing and commissioning power plants ahead of the 2018 power crisis, adding that there were legal implications with CEB contravening sections of the Electricity Act. And the highlight at the bottom says, Obama won't stop Trump protesters. US President Obama won't tell people protesting the election of Donald Trump to be quiet. There's not a precedent in our history that at some point hasn't been subject to these protests, Obama said at a press conference in Berlin on Thursday, noting that protesters have at times railed against him. And now let's move to the paper highlights in Ceylon today. The top highlight says, Constitutional Subcommittees recommended 13A plus 2 PCs. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday submitted to the Constitutional Assembly reports of 6 parliamentary subcommittees on constitutional reform. The dominant proposal came from the Subcommittee on Centre-Periphery Relations for Devolution of Power beyond the 13th Amendment of the Constitution. The highlight in the middle says, a full stop in blood to racism. And the highlight at the bottom says, power devolution must go beyond PCs, says Dr. Jayampathy Wickramaratne. That's all for today's newspaper highlights, and we'll get back to you with more news tomorrow. Thank you.